let's move on to our second conversation on Business Morning today. Today we turn our spotlight to a critical piece of Nigeria's energy puzzle, the renewable energy adoption and the urgent need to curb gas flaring. Despite being Africa's largest oil producer, Nigeria continues to burn off billions of cubic feet of natural gas annually, a practice known as gas flaring. Not only does this waste a valuable energy resource, but it also contributes significantly to greenhouse gas emissions and environmental degradation. At the same time, over 90 million Nigerians lack access to reliable electricity, prompting a growing call for investment in cleaner, more sustainable energy alternatives. The conversation is no longer just about environmental responsibility, it's also about economic opportunity, energy security, and positioning Nigeria as a leader in Africa's green transition. So this morning, we ask what's slowing down the adoption of renewables and how can Nigeria better utilize flared gas, and what policy and investment shifts are needed to drive real change in our energy landscape.
And to have this conversation with us is Ibrahim Abubakar. He's an energy reporter here at BusinessDay.
Good morning, Mr.
Good
Ibrahim.
morning.
Good morning. Thank you for
joining us.
All right, let's start. Let's go into it now. Let's start with the big picture.
Yeah.
How would you describe Nigeria's progress so far on renewable energy? Do you think we're there? Do you think we're moving fast, or we're moving too slow, or we're not there at all?
All right. So to be fair on Nigeria, the concept of renewable energy or energy transition in itself is not just a Nigerian thing; it's a global thing. And then when you look at Africa, you want to call South Africa, Nigeria, Rwanda, Kenya, and some other countries when it comes to the adoption of renewable energy. And so far, I won't say we're there. We're not even there at all. But we are currently not where we were last year, 2 years ago. If you look at data from IRENA, that's the International Renewable Energy Agency, Nigeria has grown from over 2,000 megawatts in the last 10 years to 3,000 plus in terms of renewable energy adoption. So that should count for something, and that should also mean that we are moving. Yeah, it might not be as fast as you'd expected, but the country is actually moving up. And again, we have a whole lot to do, because when it comes to energy, you need investment. And now, many of the financing houses, many of the financiers are saying that if you are not bringing sustainability, even as an organization, you need to have sustainability report when you're doing your financial report. So now they want to see what you're doing in terms of trying to curb gas flaring, trying to curb emission, trying to curb global warming. So these are some of the things that is currently going on globally, and it's trickling down on Nigeria, because we are not alone in all of this. So we're moving, not as fast as you'd expected, but we're moving.
All right. Now, gas flaring has been a long-standing issue environmentally and economically. These consequences has been lingering. So why has it been? Why do you think it has been so difficult to eliminate, despite repeated deadlines and penalties?
Well, for one, it is actually cheaper to flare gas than to curb it.
Oh, wow.
So many organizations are working towards it. I don't want to give publicity out here, but there is an IOC, that's International Oil Company, or we can call it International Energy Company, that is also doing some things in Nigeria. And they've, in their last report or latest report, they indicated that they've actually curbed gas flaring in their own assets. When it comes to their assets and their oil and gas assets, they've curbed gas flaring. So many organizations are also trying to put in the work to make sure that this is done, but the reality is currently it is actually cheaper to flare gas than to curb it. And the penalties that we have out there it's not convincing enough for any organization to say, okay, instead of paying penalties, let me stop flaring. So, for example, currently this year, according to NOSDRA, the data we have is that Nigeria oil and gas companies in the country has flared over 154 million standard cubic feet of gas. Now that is trickling down to somewhere around $52 million US.
Wow.
Now the penalties for that is somewhere around 300, not enough. So the last year we did over 1.1 billion US dollars, not million. Then the penalties was around $600 million. That's almost half of what you flared. So you see, so if I'm flaring over 1.1 billion and you're telling me to pay 600 million US dollars, that's almost half of what I flared. So I'd rather pay the penalties than find a way to curb. So, but the government is working, and some organizations are also trying to see that they can put all of this together and put flaring behind us, because it has a lot of hazard, health-wise, economic-wise, and even when it comes to investment, many people want to see that we are sustainable enough.
Okay, so we know that there was a buzz around solar mini grids and off grids solutions. So what is holding back wider adoption? We know that the solar grid adoption is more in the rural areas. So what's holding back the wider adoption?
So one is access. And again, like I said earlier, the initial investment is huge. Now, and then there is education, advocacy. So many people do not know what they want or what they need. They know what they want, they don't know what they need. For example, if I live in an apartment where all I need is just to power my laptop and charge my phone and probably just put the light in, that's it. I should be able to get something smaller for me. But when you come to them and say, oh, I need you to pay 500,000 naira for someone who is earning, say, circa 100,000, that's 5 months of his income. You won't want to do that. So probably want to get petrol or something to just let me keep running this. So access to this, then advocacy on how it is important or what you need. There is what we call analysis of what you need. So when you analyze it, then you can also now then say you want to provide these services to the people. Then income, like you said, rural area. How much is their disposable income? Is low. So and you look at the hierarchy of things. You need to first of all feed. You need to be able to clothe yourself. Some of these people have family. You need to be able to send your kid to school. So you're not telling me to go for a solar solution that is probably costing me 1.5 million naira. So these are some of the issues. So, but then we need to also advocate and educate, and also find solutions that meet peculiar needs, because you don't come to me with something that should be able to power BusinessDay, to power my apartment. So these are some of the things, and then the agency in charge of that in Nigeria, they are working, the government agency, and we have the private parts too. They are also trying to do some things. There are some reports. As at yesterday, there is a report that one of the solar assembly plants in Nigeria got a safety and quality certification in the Netherlands. So these are some of the things. The work are going slow, but obviously there's a lot going on.
All right, we often hear that Nigeria needs to balance energy access. By balancing energy access with sustainability, how do we transition to renewables without cutting off economic growth or energy supply? Especially in industrial zones.
So it has to be just a transition. Like I said, it has to be peculiar. What Nigeria needs is not what South Africa needs. And like you said in your introduction, Nigeria is the largest oil producing nation in Africa. So you can't tell the country who is the largest to stop producing oil, where even most of our FS comes from exportation of this resource. So it has to be just. It has to take some analysis of what is needed. Like I said earlier, again, if you look at Africa as a continent, we contribute less than 4% to the global. So if Africa as a whole is contributing less than 4%, China is contributing very high. It's currently still using coal. Still using. Then the same China is the largest solar or renewable energy producer in the world. So they find a way to make it work for them. We do we do coal, we do oil, then we do renewables. Then you look at recently there was a blackout in I think Portugal and Spain. And this was because they were trying to move fully from fossil fuels to renewable energy. Then it backfired, literally. So it has to be just. And for Africa, one of the most important things is energy security. We do not have that yet. So if you want to mention maybe one or two countries in Africa, say South Africa and Rwanda, maybe a little bit of Kenya are doing better in that regard. But Nigeria, our situation is different, totally different. We're still talking about band A, trying to get at least 20 hours of electricity
with the
per day.
population that we have.
Yes, then when you go online, especially on Twitter, you see that some of these discos will tell you, we're sorry, we're not able to meet the 20 hours we promised to give you yesterday. So you see the peculiarity. So it has to be just, you have to data driven. That the analysis has to go in. People who are in charge, or people who knows about this sector needs to come in. It doesn't have to necessarily be the government.
Exactly.
So the government might make sure that they have everything they need to make sure everything works. But they should sit it out for the private sector to find a way to balance all of these things, while they create an enabling environment.
All right. Speaking about the government, let's move our focus to gas flare commercialization program. I beg your pardon. So, do you think that is strong enough to truly push the change that we're looking for, policy-wise? Do you think it's strong enough?
I think it is strong enough. Then, we're in a nation where we have beautiful policies, zero implementation. I was coming on my way to the office this morning. I saw this guy putting on a helmet, an Okada rider, motorcyclist. But the glasses that was supposed to be a form of protection for his eyes and all of that was up like this.
Okay.
And he had the helmet on. On a good day, you had expected him to be arrested or probably just stopped and So, but no. So again, we have beautiful policies. We have implementation issues. The gas commercialization program policy is very beautiful. It's strong enough. I think this is one of the reasons why one of the IOCs, the one I mentioned earlier, was able to now say, okay, instead of flaring, let's find a way to curb flaring on our site, on our assets. So I only just think more. We need lesser talk and more actions. So that I think the target for gas commercialization was routine drop it till 2030. This is already 2025. That's 5 years from now. Then generally we have the net zero 2050 2060 pledge. So these are some of the things I believe with constant conversation with industry players, especially on the private sector's side, we'll get there slowly, little by bit. But for now, we're not doing wonderfully well, because the data I saw, or the report I did just this week, shows that flaring is up highest in 4 years, as at 2024. And if you look at the first 5 months of this year, we're already doing almost half of what we did in the first 6 months of 2024. So there is a very high chance it might be the fifth or the it's a 5-year high. So these are some of the issues we need to take it outside of policy and implementation. So this are some of the things. But the policy in itself, beautiful, strong. Wow. But implementation is one of the problems.
The example you gave was really good, the helmet example.
All right, let's talk about finance. That's a renewable energy infrastructure isn't cheap. So finance should be talked about here. So are local investors showing real interest, or is this still donor-driven?
No. So we've moved from donor-driven to private centered investment.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it's very, very expensive. I'm currently working on an article that I can't speak because but it shows that we need a lot of money.
Okay.
Circa $200 million yearly.
Whoa.
To make sure that we are up to date. And last year we didn't do that. 2 years ago we didn't do that. Meaning we're already back. We're already lagging behind when it comes to that. So that's 100 will probably be 250 now.
Oh wow.
So it's not easy. You see that in the country now we have so many organizations coming in with electric vehicles, electric motorcycle. I had a conversation with one of the CEOs, and he said that I can't even promise you that there's power supply enough for you to charge.
Exactly.
However, that petrol or that diesel you are buying to power your organization or your homes just creates some sort of a box outside where you can charge your electric vehicle when you are on your fossil fuel. You see what that is?
So it's not really working.
So it's not like it's not working, but we can't easily, or we can't really just phase out fossil fuel.
Yeah.
We can't.
No, we can't.
So it is peculiar to us, Nigerians. So we need to like take that into cognizance. We need to take that into our anything we have to do. So investment is no longer donor. Donor is there, but we are seeing private investments too. And even like I said earlier, organizations, local and international, are now saying for you to even get any form of investment, want to see your sustainability report.
Exactly.
What are you doing in terms of that? Like you necessarily don't have to face out for forever, but want to see that okay, you're also taking this aspect of things very seriously. Okay. So these are some of the things that they're using to move that intention or move Nigeria towards that goal.
So how would you rate the private sector in all of this, in moving, from since you said we're no more donor driven, it's not private sector, how would you rate how the acceleration has been?
Yeah, it's moving. It is moving. Like I said yesterday, an assembly plant here in Nigeria, what they say is a Nigerian based company, but they assemble, they don't make. They have to also import some parts of these things into the country. They got that certification, which shows that they can now assemble and also export, not just local consumption now. And the plants in itself has I think 100 megawatts capability. So that's more than enough to roll out every year or yearly. And you look at electric vehicles, investors are now bringing electric vehicles. Nigerian investors are bringing it. That's to show, okay, we need to move a little bit from fossil fuel to renewable sources of energy. Yeah. So even in as much as we want to use fossil fuel, we're cutting it down. So if you're using say 10 liters before, want you to go down to as low as 5, then maybe in the next year 2, then 1, then we just stay there. But we can't face it out fully. So the investment is there, it's moving. Not as well as you'd expected, because this has to do with money. And when we talk about money, it's not even in local currency now. You're talking FX. So we know the FX issues in the country. So private players are doing their best, if you ask me. Again, it borders to the government also making sure that they have the enabling environments so that all of these things can work.
So if Nigeria gets it right, the curbing, the gas flaring and every other thing, how do you think it will impact on us economically?
So I want to first of all start with the health-wise. Okay. If you look at a report that shows that 100,000 people die from smoking or inhaling dirty sources of energy. Okay. So coal, charcoal, firewood. I know these people are women and children. Wow. So yearly, that was the latest report. So if you curb any form of carbon emission, you're reducing the number of mortality rates in that regard. Yeah. So may say from 100,000 to 20, 10, which is also not acceptable, but you've reduced. Then economically, you see the amount we're wasting. Last year, $1.1 billion for flaring. That's the value of the gas that was flared. $1.1 billion for a country looking for FX. Then a year before $1 billion. So economically it helps. Then it will also help with our local consumption and exportation. So when you stop flaring, you have more resources to give out. So economically it helps. It creates jobs because when you're bringing in the technology that we use to curb, you have to bring people into. The technology will not help itself. People have to work on that machinery and all of that. So you create job, you create education for people who do not know and wants to know. Then you literally just it trickle down everywhere on every aspect of the economy, human-wise, pocket-wise, and even when it comes to the power sector, because we use gas to make sure that our powers are also up. When we have hydro, we have the gas and all of that. So economically, it will help. It will take us from where we are right now. I can assure you, because the latest report is showing that the gas flare this year, the 154 million standard cubic feet, has a potential of creating 15.4 thousand gigawatts hour of power. So these are some of the things.
Before we let you go, I'll just David, just give me 1 second to ask him something a bit about the safety of the solar. At some point, some people have experienced fire coming out of their solar from their roof and all of that one. So how can that be covered as well? How can that?
So the first thing is to make sure that you are getting a quality endorsed product.
All right.
So which also speaks to advocacy. We have some of them here in the country.
Oh, okay.
And the last time I had a conversation with one of the producers per se or assemblers, their website, they have their own website.
Okay.
They have their own vendors who you can easily go on their website and see who their vendors and distributors are. You have to make sure you are getting it from the right source.
Okay.
That's what I'm literally saying.
But some people always say that putting it on the roof is not safe. Are there other measures on how for safety?
You know, so safety starts with the assembling.
Oh, okay.
So if you do not assemble it right, obviously you have some of these things. It's just like the LPG, that's the cooking gas.
Oh, okay.
If your cylinder is not okay, you get fire. Then if you do not close it properly, you get fire. That does not mean the gas in itself is not okay for cooking, or the cylinder is not okay for. It means that you have some kind of issue with that product. So it's why I said quality control is very important. We have SON, that's the Standard Organization of Nigeria. We have some of this, and then also for you to say you're meeting global standard, you have to put your product up for testing.
I must say, our Standard Organization, are they really working?
I would like you to invite one of their representatives to that.
To speak for themselves.
Yeah, you understand.
Exactly.
So these are some of the things. So it takes. It's just like the product you're using. Even this laptop, you need to get it from the right source. If you're getting it from the backyard, to like, you actually have issues. So those are some of the things. So when you say it's solar panels comes with rigorous. I've been opportunity to be at an assembly plant, and you see different steps to these things.
Wow.
Then when you did not get it right, you have to take it back to step one. You have to get it right before it leaves the factory.
Oh, right. Very
so
important.
That means that something went wrong while they're trying to assemble it, for it to cut to have caught fire, and all of that. So I think our quality control agencies locally and internationally need to up their game, because we have people who are now in the market trying to make sure that they also make profit without quality. So you don't get quality for money.
All right, thank you so much. Ibrahim Abubakar is the energy reporter here at Business Day.
Thank you for having
And
me.
that's the much we can take on Business Morning today. Up next is Big Story. My name is Deborah Eze.
And I am Destiny Mama.
Keep watching BDTV.